Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy December. So excited that you are tuning in to Tisha Talks live at 10:45, whether you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. We're going to have a rockin' good time. This is actually the last show for the year because, as we know, we can only really work 2 weeks in December. I think a lot of us take a lot of the time off. So I will not be hosting one next week, but then we're going to kick it back up in the new year. So if you're tuning into this, you're like, I should be a guest on her show, I would love for you to reach out to me because I'm always looking for fantastic guests like Mr. Daniel Knight here. And we're going to get this party started, but I'm gonna bring Daniel in just a second. And I just wanted to talk about some things that are coming up, some things that are going on. And again, I see some LinkedIn users coming on. For some reason, I can't see the names, but happy Friday. I know Mr. Groovy is watching. Happy Friday to you too. Can't believe I went to the wrong event. Well, whatever event that you were going to be at, you are now at this event, and we're so honored and grateful to have you here. And today we're going to be talking about the keys to creating golden connections. And for those of you who know a little bit about me, I love connections. I love relationships. I love building community. I'm out here in the Gilbert, Arizona area. So if you're in Arizona, I'd love to connect with you too, or even if you're wherever. That's the beauty about connections. And I think Daniel and I will talk a lot about that too, that connections happen just about anywhere you want them to. Grocery store, soccer fields. I've met people in the sauna, all good things. So I just had the most amazing event that happened just the other day. I spoke at C-Suite for Christ in Phoenix, and shout out to Rob Brown for inviting me to the stage, and then turned around and hosted a holiday hullabaloo, which was a pajama party for people here in Phoenix. Vendor, dinner, drinks, you name it. So fun. So that was part of my creating those golden connections. And I want to encourage you, if you are tuning into this, if you're like, how do I find those golden connections? We're going to just tap into that in just a minute too with Daniel. But I encourage you to find those ways, find those things that make you happy, like get out of your comfort zone and go meet people, right? Because that's how the magic happens. That's where all of these great connections come in. So, all right, good stuff. I'm bringing Daniel back and we're going to get this party started. Daniel, great to have you. Daniel Knight from Unicorn Universe, the Chief Executive Unicorn. And just for you, Daniel, I decided to wear my little Santa unicorn hat.
I love it. It's so great. And I love your mug too. I noticed it's got your name on it.
That's so I had awesome. To be matchy today because it's the holiday season. So I had it in another mug and I was like, crap, I should probably put this into a different mug that matches my little Santa hat. So I'm glad. Hey, I wanted to also point this out. So this is a fun little gift that Daniel Knight, he and I actually just met in person last month. We were at this polo tournament. We're benefiting. AC Caswell was putting this on, and Daniel flew out to Arizona, and we got to hang out in the VIP area, and he gifted this to me, and it's my coaster on my desk. So it says, if you can see it, you are a goddamn magical unicorn. I love it. It's one of my favorite coasters.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
All right. Well, I know Royce Blake. Royce Blake's in the house saying, talking to people. What a concept. I know, right? I know. All right, Daniel. So here we go. I'm going to get the little ticker up there. We're talking today about keys to creating golden connections. And Daniel Knight is definitely a major connector. If you don't know him, you're going to get to know him. And then he's also going to tell you how to find him so that you can keep those connections flowing. But great to have you, Daniel. Thanks so much. How was it in Utah, in snowy Utah?
It is snowy, but it's not too bad. It snowed a pretty good amount the past couple of days. My dog loves the snow, and
good old Thor.
So it's been good, but it's actually 37 right now, which is nice.
Oh man, that's nice to you.
Yep. Well, the past couple of days we're hitting like 25, 20 degrees, so that's frigid to say the least.
Frigid.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a really great connection for you. Speaking of connections, he's going to be on my show next year, but Todd Westra, if I haven't connected you with Todd, he's in your area. He's also in Utah, He
Okay.
was out here around Thanksgiving, so I got to meet him in person too. And he was just soaking up the sun in a t-shirt and shorts going running. He's like, when I go running in Utah, it's minus 15 degrees outside.
Yeah, it gets pretty cold to say the least. So, and then it's funny because the next day it'll be 60 something, you know.
Gosh, I know. He was saying, well, Royce and I are both in Arizona, and I can tell you, we like it's 70 something degrees today. It's gorgeous, gorgeous,
Ugh,
gorgeous. So, not to brag, Daniel,
it's
but
all right.
70
I will
degrees.
be there more, and you know, I do intend on moving there. So, um,
Yay.
because of, you know, the people more than anything. It's funny, that's the second time that's been mentioned. I think the more times we mention it, the sooner it'll happen, right? It's really
Yeah.
about the people, you know, like you, Tisha, and so many other amazing people. I feel at home in Arizona, even though I've lived here in Utah, you know, most of my life. So yeah, so that's the plan, and I'm really
Yeah.
excited about it. So
Good. I think that's great. Well, you know that I will always introduce you to awesome connections when you get here.
oh yeah.
For sure. For sure. Okay. Well, good. Well, I have a question. So, talk to us about what a golden connection is.
All right. Yeah, so a golden connection, it's funny because we have a pretty specific definition for it. But it can actually be whoever, or, you know, whoever you identify as your golden connection. And I do these posts on Fridays, which is, you know, we ask who is your golden connection. And sometimes it's the most random things. You know, some people will say it's this person because they've made such an impact in my life. Some people, like, you know, Michael Gray, my business partner, his golden connection was his dog that he found and
Taco.
got. Taco, yes, the best dog name. After,
Yeah.
of course, Thor, who was my golden connection for a while, and I mean, he still is. So this is what I'm saying. It kind of just depends on how you identify it. Usually, we use the term golden connection as somebody you're looking to find and connect with, somebody that can change your life either personally or professionally in very substantial ways. You know, like, you know, our dogs, they're very important to us. You basically can't get through a conversation without with myself or Mike without talking about dogs for a second. My dog's name
Mhm.
is Thor, and he's pretty amazing.
He's
um,
adorable.
so it's really kind of, it's all relative, right? Some Everybody's golden connection is different, but the idea is that it's somebody that you are actively seeking out that could change your life, in a, you know, very substantial way. Typically through business is how we focus on it at Unicorn Universe, and that's, you know, somebody that can create consistent deal flow for your company, or solve a problem that you're dealing with, or even create new opportunities where, you know, maybe something didn't exist until you found that golden connection, and now you're creating a whole new, you know, business model or business for people that, you know, just wouldn't have existed unless you made that golden connection. So it all kind of depends, it's up to you, but we do have a very specific strategy and way of identifying those golden connections that can actually create a very significant impact in your life. So that's what a golden connection is.
I love it. And I love that you said that the golden connection, although it can be business, it can be someone who really impacts your life in a personal way. And
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about a golden connection that I have, and I just adore this man. I adore this man. So I've been going to my gym for several years, Daniel, and there was always this guy that would always just smile at me, and he's like, "Hello." And one day we finally struck up a conversation. He's 75 years old. I kind of call him like my step-in dad because he's always the guy that comes in, asks me how I'm doing, connects with me. Like we walk the treadmill together. Well, I run, he walks at like 2.0. He's 75, and just love his energy. And I was really searching for that positive person in my life. I don't really have a great relationship with my own father. And so I guess I was kind of manifesting that I'm like, bring me like a step in dad.
Mm.
And he showed up to my speech this past week, and it was just like, oh, it just meant so much. And he got to meet my mom, and it was just beautiful, and so I really love that you're saying golden connections just aren't business, but it can be personal. It's really what you're seeking, that can come to fruition.
100%. Like that's what it's really all about, and that's why we do this in the first place. It's to give people a better life.
Hmm.
Um, Most people don't go into business to be stressed out their whole time they're running their business till they die, right? They go in it
Right.
because they believe that it can create a better lifestyle, right?
Hmm.
And it can, and connections are a great way of doing that. And so I love
Hmm.
that you said you kind of manifested it, because that's actually really like the first and the most important key to creating a golden connection is knowing who it is, knowing what you are trying to accomplish. What is the mission behind the golden connection? Are you trying to find somebody that can add value to your business, or are you trying to find somebody that can add value to your personal life? Ultimately, they should all be contributing to your personal life, but it's so important. You got to know what you are passionate about and what you're trying to accomplish with it, or else it's just not going to be as easy. It's probably not going to work out, and it's not going to be as impactful. So that's really, like I said, the first and most important part is, why are you even looking for this person, right? And how does it support your mission?
Right. And you just hit on a very key point too, that this should be a win-win for both of you. It
Absolutely.
shouldn't just be a taker type of thing,
Right.
where if it's not a win-win, if this golden connection that you are now working with is just really not working, that's okay too. You figure that out and you move on. But because I've found myself, and maybe you have too, and I'd love to hear from the audience. Have you ever found yourself where you're like, this is the perfect person to collaborate with? And when all is said and done, you're like, dang it, I shouldn't have done that. Or, oh, I learned a lot about this experience and it didn't really work out the way I thought it would work out. And that's okay. Maybe they weren't the perfect golden connection that you were seeking. So, talk to us a little bit about that too, Daniel. Have you ever found yourself in that situation where you're like, eh,
I mean, yes, and it's funny because that actually brings us to the second key. There are really a lot of points to it, but um, you know, as far as to answer your question, yeah, there have been situations where you think somebody's a great hit. I'm not going to name names; that wouldn't be fun. But and things just don't work out for one reason or another. And why does that happen? I believe that it comes down to your core values and what you stand for, and kind of going back into the mission part, but really what you're trying to accomplish. And if your values don't align, it's going to be much more challenging to actually accomplish the things you're trying to accomplish. And so, obviously identifying your golden connection is a key part to it. And that's what the second key is, knowing who that is in a way that you can identify with, like through your core values, through the standards that you have. We have a
mhm,
whole unicorn DNA it's a 16 point DNA that has all these different elements to it. And ultimately, that is how we identify the kind of people that we're looking to work with and
mm,
collaborate with. Because if they don't align with those points, those values that we have, it's not going to be a fit. Think you're
yeah.
going to butt heads. You might have communication issues. Ultimately, it's just not likely to work out. And if it does, it might not be as impactful.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So, can you share, like, I'd love to hear from you, Daniel. Can you share an example of a golden connection that you've created personally?
Aside from my dog,
Yay, Thor.
yeah. Um, so, like for others, or that has impacted my life.
I'd love to know about one that has impacted your life.
Okay. So, a few years ago, I had like I was selling health insurance and I was totally broke. It was not working out for me.
Mm,
And I was like, okay, how am I going to make my car payment? It's due in like a week. And so I was like, I need to tap into my connections. And so I met somebody that was doing financial services. And he was the CFO over 7 different companies that he had ownership in. And he brought me on as his VP of operations. I made that connection through um, somebody that I knew, and ultimately, what happened is I learned a substantial amount of information about financial services and got involved with all these different financial advisors, and ultimately figured out later on that he actually was my golden connection. I didn't even,
Mhm.
this wasn't a thing. Golden connections were not, was not a term that was being thrown around. And so I realized that, you know, by aligning with the right person that can open doors for you, that can make other introductions for you, that can really create a lot of opportunities for you. That's what a golden connection is, you know? And so
Mhm.
I met him, and my life has been changed ever since, you know? Through
Mhm.
that connection, I met other people that we ended up starting Unicorn Universe, and, you know, helped a lot of different businesses through some of the different financial services that we were doing, between tax strategies or, you know, stimulus package funding. Um, Millions of dollars generated from that single connection. And by the two of us collaborating, we helped tons of businesses get funding for different things, and ultimately have helped them continue to prosper as companies, you know?
Mhm.
So that's easily been probably my most significant golden connection, that has really changed my life for the better. So, and it's interesting because the whole philosophy of knowing your mission and what you're going after is all relevant, because I was at a corporate job before, and
Mhm.
the reason I took that job in the first place was because I wanted to level up and get out of the auto industry, but I had to get
Yeah.
through a corporate spot before I could do that. I felt like, um, at least in the way that I wanted. And then I wanted to go to financial services. Boom, boom, done. That's exactly what happened, you know? And
Mhm.
so I think by having that game plan and knowing what the strategy was that I wanted to, um, you know, accomplish, that's how it happened, you know? So you really got to know what the objective is that you're trying to achieve, you know?
No, I like that. I like that. So you talked about some of these steps for making these golden connections. What would you say is really the most important part? Kind of peel back. I mean, you mentioned knowing who your golden connection is and really looking at different values and principles to
Hmm.
see if that would work out. Do you have any other tips or important parts that you would say this is something you have to have in order to make that golden connection happen?
Yeah. And I did not send you these steps, but you were like going in perfect order right now, Trisha.
I just kind of figured it out, you know.
Well, and it helps that that you're in the community and
Yes.
have experienced some of these things. So, um, it's adding value. It really is. How
Mm,
can you add value to whoever it is that is your golden connection? That's the third key. Um, so you got to know. So all part of having that game plan is, you know, if I'm gonna meet this person, you know, you can be sitting next to a billionaire and not know what to do about it. But if you have a strategy and you know, hey, this is my golden connection, I can add value to you in this way. That's how it's going to work out. You got to make it so enticing to the other person that they'd be stupid to turn it down, right?
yeah.
Um, so so that's what it is adding that value and having a very clear and concise and compelling message that you can say to that person, which you got to have defined beforehand, because otherwise you're going to miss that opportunity.
Hmm. That's very true. That's very true. So I have a story I want to share with you. I met a gal at the C Suite for Christ Phoenix event a couple months ago in October. You know, you're at a networking event, you're just meeting people kind of randomly before everything starts back up and before, you know, presenter takes the stage. And we just hit it off so well that I'm always of this mindset, Daniel, that I don't go to events to just let the connection die in the room. But I'm going to tell you, so many people make that mistake. They don't follow through, they don't respond. You try to reach out to them, they don't touch base. Like they let the connection die in the room. And to me, that is the number one mistake that I see people making. So I reached out to this gal, Becky, and we hit it off. We got on a call. She ends up hiring me for some mentoring. And I tell her, I'm getting ready to speak on the stage. She owns a Christian apparel boutique. And she said, I would love to give you a shirt. And I said, oh my gosh, I'd love to wear it when I speak on stage, you know, and I'll deck it out with my Converse and all the stuff. And I wore the shirt. I had so many people ask me about the shirt that today, actually, on LinkedIn, I posted a picture of the shirt, the whole outfit. And I tagged her and I tagged a whole bunch of people that had been asking me that this morning. She's like, oh my gosh, my sales are just going nuts. Thank you. Thank you so much. And she gave me a special code for people to use, like a 15% off code. But she's blowing up my email and my message going, thank you so much. Like, you have no idea how much you helped me just get my name out there.
Wow.
All of that from a couple minutes of meeting her at an event and then taking it offline and then taking it further and taking it further and then saying, I want to help you. And here's how I can help you. Like, I was her walking billboard that day. Honestly.
I love that. That's
yeah,
amazing.
I called it out. It was, this whole thing was being live streamed and I was like, shout out to Becky. She made me this shirt. It is so perfect for the message that I'm sharing today. And oh yeah, here's how you can get 15% off.
Yes. That's so great. It's so amazing the impact that we can create in this world for other people by doing such simple things,
Simple things. Like, I mean, how many of us post something just because? But if you could post something with some impact or some value or help the next person, that
Right.
to me is like where the magic happens. Like, you're helping that person just by that little simple gesture.
Absolutely. Right. And, and I love that you say that because so you actually kind of hit on the other two keys, but
I'm on a
before
roll, Daniel.
nailing it. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So, but before I say those, I want to just emphasize what you just said. Sometimes we share things just to share, but sometimes we don't because, okay. So a lot of people like on LinkedIn specifically think there's all this strategy. You got to play to the algorithm, whatever. And if you post twice a day, it's going to hurt your other post. And so people get it in their head like, oh, I can't share that because my post won't do as well. Okay, one, that's a scarcity mindset. You shouldn't be thinking that way.
Yeah.
Two, add value to your network. Support the people that are in your network. If you want to support something, share it. Share the GoFundMe's. Share somebody's looking for a job if you can. Obviously not everything, right? I think it's important that it aligns with what you care about, right? But if you care about that, share it. It really doesn't help. So many people just don't share posts, and it's like, why? They don't do very well for whatever reason, but who cares? Show that support. It might just find its way in front of the right person that could change somebody's life.
True story. Now, there was a gentleman who he was looking for a job and I didn't know him. It was actually a friend of mine that commented and I happened to see it on my notifications. And I loved how creative he was because he did a little song and dance about how he was looking for a job. And I just commend him. Like, he went out and he was brave and he put himself out there. And, his post, because of everybody sharing it, went viral, that he actually did get a lot of job opportunities off of it. So I love what you said is if you see something on LinkedIn or any other social media platform where there is a need, someone needs that little helping hand, don't just stop the cycle. Don't just look at it, dismiss it, move on, but actually sharing it is nothing. It's a button.
Yeah.
It's button.
Seriously. I totally agree with you. So I love that. And I love that, that came from a networking event, which is ultimately what that fourth step is to find people who are that golden connection. Where can you find them? It could be with your existing network. So maybe you post, this is my golden connection. That's why I have the golden connection posts every week. So people can share that and leverage the power of the numbers and try to help each other make those connections. And we do our virtual event on Fridays where people will share that as well. So you got to get it out there, right? You got to say who you're looking to connect with and then go out and find those connections. It could be friends and family. You could do a simple LinkedIn search. It could be, people you work with even, or that you worked with in the past. It could be networking events, right? So ultimately, you just got to get it out there. And you might go through 20 different people before you find the right person that aligns with all the values and the mission you're trying to accomplish, that sees the value you can add to their life too. So,
right. Yeah.
And then,
I love it. I love that.
Yeah. And I just wanted to, and then this is the last one, but to what you were saying, sharing something and tagging them, that's the last part of it is nurturing that relationship with somebody, because a lot of the time with what you're trying to accomplish, you don't want to just ask right off the bat unless it's like obvious win-win for everybody and you just hit it off, right? But you got to build that relationship, and
Mm-hmm.
add value to them. So you share their posts, you tag them and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
like literally, Tisha, you're just nailing it left and right. So because
I know
that's
a thing
exactly
or
what you
two
do.
about connections. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. When I first met you, I was like so excited. I got off the call. I'm like, okay, Tisha is somebody that I think is amazing as a person, as a connector, and I want to support you in any way possible. So, you know, so that's what we've done, right? we've
Mm-hmm.
we've maintained our relationship, and I absolutely love every time we get to talk. So, I'm really grateful that you've invited me on your show. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Likewise. Yeah. I always say that. I'm always going to be the type of person that will connect and follow through. And I can't say that for a lot of people. And that's why those people are really no longer in my circle because they're not willing to put in the effort into creating the connection and keep it going. And I get
right,
it. I get things happen, life happens. But if you're really setting your heart on like making those really good connections, it's a two-way street. There's a relationship here. So
yep.
there are lots of people, Daniel, that have come and gone in my life. And I mean, we could talk about this for days, I'm sure, but I really do look at my circle as a very close-knit circle. I don't have lots and lots and lots of people in it, but the people I do have are people that are like my ride or die type of people. Like we do everything. I support them, they support me. They're really the people that are always commenting on things that I'm doing and vice versa. Those are the people that I want to be around. Those are the people I will fly to Utah to meet. Or you'll fly to Arizona to meet me. Like those are
Yeah,
the people you want in your life. So, you don't have to have this enormous circle of friends that are just kind of lukewarm or just not even really there for you. You got to find the really, like you said, golden connections that you support them, they support you. It's reciprocal. You do life together. That's
right.
that's how I look at it. So I know there are a lot of people that really love the numbers. They really love those numbers. They really love the metrics and the vanity, and they just want lots and lots and lots and lots of views. But I look at that as very superficial, that I'm like, okay, but if you don't have a relationship with all those folks, does it really matter? Does it really matter? It
Right.
doesn't to me. It doesn't to me. That's why I'm like, I'm gonna post it anyway. I don't care.
Yeah, 100%. I like it really is everything. You can have, 10,000 people following you and not one of them really
Know
care
you.
and support you. Yeah.
Yeah. Or
And
you, yeah. Yeah.
and vice
Sure.
versa, right? So
Mhm.
I think that's super important. And
Yeah, exactly.
and you do a great job at it. I mean, you say you don't have a huge circle. I don't know if I believe that. It seems like you do. And you do these events, which I am so sad I still haven't made it to one of your events. It seems like, every time I go to Arizona or try to, it is like everything was working against me. And I don't know why, but I I won't go into all the things that have happened, but the last time right before this polo event that we actually met at. So I actually drove down there. I
I
didn't fly.
remember with Michael, yeah?
Yeah,
And
well, we
with
drove.
Taco too, or no? Just
No, we
Michael.
drove separately because my car was full of all this stuff that I was bringing down there,
Uh,
and the car had issues the day before. I was
uh,
the best man at Jonah's wedding, and so I was, super busy getting ready for that, getting ready for the event. The car was having issues. I'm like trying to fix it, and like all these different things. It was just crazy. I left here at 8:30 p.m. and got to Arizona at 8:30 a.m. No, it doesn't typically take that long, but it does when you didn't get much sleep the past week because you had all these things going on. And
right?
you got to pull over and take a nap sometimes. I highly recommend that you do that if you are tired
Yes.
and driving.
Yes.
So again, it was like everything working against me, but I'm like, I am getting there. Like, no matter what, I'm gonna make it happen, and I did. I literally had an hour and a half before this event, had to set things up, and it worked out. So Yeah.
Good, good, good. I think it will. It always works out. Going into this event on Wednesday, I was freaking out. My co-host decided, let's do this holiday hullabaloo. And I was like, yeah, why not? Not realizing that December is just crazy for events. It's crazy,
Yeah.
not just for personal events, but professional business, all the stuff that's going, it's just crazy. And I said yes. And of course I was like, well, I already have done this event in the past, but yeah, we can totally do this. So as we're getting there, I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody's coming, nobody's coming. But it worked out. We had like 60 plus people at an event on Wednesday, decked out in
Nice.
pajamas. The food was amazing. I didn't over order. Like the drinks were flowing. Like the vendors were happy that they made sales that night. Like it turned out to be a really awesome event. And I was freaking out like the whole month through, but it's good. It's good. Like I look at the pictures now, Daniel, and I was like, that was pretty great. Pretty
Yeah.
great.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I love that.
Yeah, good. Well, I want to say hi to some folks that were tuning in on LinkedIn if they're still here, but Stavina and Natalia, Mr. Groovy joining us out of California, and Royce Blake. Royce is, like I said, out here in Arizona, and he says you can usually find something that you have in common with almost anyone. True story. True story.
True.
If you dig deep enough, it could be even just like your favorite movie or your favorite holiday or simple
Right.
things like that. I think, so I can add to your connections, I would say getting into conversation, meaningful conversation is another good one, because so many of us are very surface level
Hmm.
that we're like, oh, Daniel, I don't need to know anything about Unicorn Universe. I've already made a judgment, and instead of really getting to know you,
Right.
yeah, so many of us are just like, don't have time. You got 1 minute of my time. And then you don't get to know that person. And you just missed out on so many amazing opportunities.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and it's happened, you explain what you do and people are like, oh, I don't need that. Or, oh, there are 1,000 of
Mhm.
you. And it's like, okay, but I'm a person, and everybody, it's funny because everybody you meet, you have something in common with immediately. You're both
Mhm.
in the same place right then and
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You're at a networking event. Why did you come here? Why did I come here? Oh, there might be a commonality right there,
Duh.
just being in the same place, being in the same vicinity, the same state, even,
Right.
Um, and I think it's important to focus on people, not projects, right? Learn about people and care about them versus your service or whatever you're trying to sell. And it makes everything so much better. I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation with somebody. I'm like, I have no idea what they do. They're amazing, though. And I want to be friends with them. And later on, we find out that, holy cow, there are all these opportunities to work together. And that's going to work out because we're already great friends. Like, it's so much better that way. Trust me, going to a networking event with the focus of the people and how you can just enjoy yourself there is the way to go. It's so much better than having this pitch ready in the back of your head and a business card. I know how much you love business cards
Oh,
at
I
networking
love business
events.
cards.
I kind of just stopped bringing them with me because then I don't hand it to somebody. What I do instead is you take a picture with somebody and you send it to them with your name and their name because the last thing you want is to, you know, try to reach back out not knowing who is in
Botch their
that.
name.
Yeah, right. What was your name again?
What was
Uh,
that?
had a great time with you. But yeah, I think
Jane
that,
or John.
yeah, right. Hey, you slugger. Um,
Slugger.
it's just way better. And I think you were actually possibly even the first person that introduced me to the concept of not bringing business cards to a networking event. I'm like, what?
Mind blown.
Yeah. Imagine that you can actually build a relationship without handing somebody a piece of paper. It's crazy.
Crazy. I know. I really had to work at getting people to see that, because they just were like, no, 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 that's not right. That there's something wrong with that. And I was like,
Right.
no, actually, I prefer it. I prefer that I just like you. I love that idea, Daniel. Snap a picture with someone, send it to them with your contact information so that you remember that person too and they remember
Right.
you. Like
Yep.
people have really good visual memories. And if you can do that, it's so much better than walking out with 50 business cards going, I don't remember Daniel. I don't remember Daniel. Was he the one wearing the unicorn hat or no?
Right.
So,
Right. Well, and you get a text from that person and you see that image again. And it's like, oh, yeah, that was such a great conversation. And look how happy we were. You know,
I
like,
know. I know. I really love that point, and I really want to hammer that home that when you're going to a networking event, because a lot of your golden connections may come from networking, whether it's an online event or an in-person event, that go with this mindset of I'm here to really have a great time at this and to meet some really cool people. Because if you go into it with that, you're going to have a great time. You're going to meet the right types of people.
yes, exactly. I like to say, if you want to prosper, focus on the people.
Yeah, I love it. Focus on the people. All right. So, Daniel, take us home. Tell us what's going on in your world and how people can reach you and all the good stuff.
Well, sure. Thank you. Well, you've got the ticker down below.
Mhm.
We have a community of amazing people. It's all about the people, people that fit the unicorn DNA. And the way to get started at our entry level is our Finding the Rainbow membership, which Tisha just put the link up on the screen. Just findingtherainbow.unicornuniverse.io, and let's connect through there. We do weekly networking events. I don't like calling them networking events. We call them connection events.
Connection
And
events.
I don't know why I do that. I do know why, but um, it's to make it relatable to people. But it's really all about connecting. And I'm actually here today while that connection event is going on, and Michael Gray is running it. But they're so much fun. I literally have such a blast in those events. I get off and I'm just like overjoyed with all the magic that happens, all the connections that are made. It's just a fun time. You know, we're unicorns. We like to have fun.
Mhm.
Part of the DNA is you're able to let go and have a good time. So that's what we do on these connection events. Just meet people, you know. So that's what it's all about, you know.
Very
And
cool.
yeah, I also want to mention we did just launch our podcast, the Unicorn Connector Show, and it's just a great way to learn, you know, a lot of the things we talked about today, as well as other tips about being a connector. And you know, we'll do interviews with people and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, those are
Thank
some of the things
you.
we got cooking, and some really exciting things coming up next year. But
I love it. I love it. Okay. And then how do people find you, Daniel? Because there are people joining us today that probably are not connected with you yet. What are some great places that they can look for you, connect with you?
yeah, so definitely LinkedIn is that's my home base. So um, just search either Daniel Knight. I'll have the little unicorn emoji after my name. Or you can, you know, the handle is 10x unicorn. And that's on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or on Instagram and Twitter. It's got the underscore 10x underscore unicorn.
I like
There's
it.
more to that. You'll learn if you connect with me, but LinkedIn's probably
Cool.
the best place.
Yeah, you were on fire, my friend, on LinkedIn. Always posting there.
I love it. It's so much fun. The community there is incredible. If you hear that and you're like, what? LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, I get that a lot, actually. So many people are like, no. They just have such a bad taste in their mouth. I'm like, have you tried it though?
Yeah. I mean, it's not only for finding jobs, you know,
No.
not only for finding clients. I've met some of the most incredible people through LinkedIn that have become very close friends. So I highly recommend it.
Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you so much, my friend, for being here. I see you and I have the same kind of style when we're on like stages, like the t-shirt and the blazer.
This is my fit for live events and stuff like that. Sometimes I'll do the purple shirt, but I was
I love
feeling
it. That's just like so perfectly placed, the unicorn universe right in the
yeah,
center with your blazer.
yep.
You need like
Compliment.
a purple blazer or something to complement your unicorn crown, your
Yeah,
unicorn
so
horn.
100%. We want to do like the checkerboard design as a suit, like a full suit though.
Oh my gosh. That'll turn some heads. That'll
How
turn some
cool would that
heads.
be? Right? With like some blue pinstriping and blue unicorn pins. Yeah.
I tell you, Daniel, so at this event that I spoke at, I bought some. I think I showed her, you might have seen the pictures, but I wore some pink sparkly sequin Converse lookalikes. And people are like, oh my gosh, I saw you walking a mile away. Like, oh my gosh, like just the shoes were a big hit. So yeah, anything you can do, the whatever striped whatever suit.
I think just the design, the checkerboard design would be like so amazing. Mike's going to design it. He gets all the credit for the branding. I did not create this brand. Michael Gray did. He is a
You guys
branding
you've done a phenomenal job at it too. It really suits all of you. So thank you so much, my friend, for being on with me, and happy holidays to you and your family and Thor and everybody else that was tuning in either live or will be watching the replay. Happy holidays to you too. And, like I said, we will not be back next week or the following. We're going to take it off for the holidays, and I'll be back on Tisha Talks Live in the new year. So we will see you there. And again, thanks so much, Daniel. It's such a pleasure having you on. I always love chatting it up with you. And we'll see everybody in 2023.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.